But you're talking now also about whatever the device looks like in the future, that it will answer a question before I ask it because it's listened to all of my conversations.
That's fine. Yeah, if you let it, which you will.
Yes, you will. But again, my problem is not the technology, but who has access to all of my thoughts, all of my questions, all of my conversations. Where is that going?
Well, this is an issue right now. I mean, we do very intimate things, like write tens of thousands of emails to a girlfriend
right.
on our personal computers, and we don't have absolute control of that information. Relatively few people actually have their lives ruined by invasions of privacy. There are a couple of people that might disagree with that who are in the news recently. But,
right.
I mean, I talk to people, and privacy actually is alive and well. I mean, it used to be you just had to close the blinds in your bedroom, and now you've got 1,000 virtual windows. But we actually have the means of closing those virtual
The Senate just today just introduced a bill where they can read anything that is on your email or anything that is on your server. So that gives the government, without a search warrant or anything else, just access to go in. I mean, Google is already at least scanning all of my email to find keywords to target things. I mean, at some point, does it ever become Minority Report to you?
Well, there's pluses and minuses. You know, did we have more privacy when there was one sort of party line that several families shared? And how did you have a private conversation with that? I mean, we actually have much more means of private conversations now. But privacy is a complicated issue, and I agree with you with concerns about government intrusion. I mean, the technological building blocks of Big Brother are there, but it's also very empowering of the individual. It's, I mean, I wrote in the 1980s that the Soviet Union would be swept away by the then emerging social network, which was email over teletype machines, fax machines, and that's what happened in the 91 coup against Gorbachev. People thought it was nuts when I wrote that in the 80s, but then it broke the back of this model of the authorities keeping control of all information. There was this clandestine network of hackers that kept everybody in the know. And we had a great wave of democratization during the 90s. We see the effect of social networks today. I mean, it doesn't always move in the direction we might want, but
again,
basically, go back 75 years ago, there were only a handful of democracies in the world.
I don't know if I would classify like Egypt and Libya. I'm not on the bandwagon that they're a democracy. Right. They are a democracy, but it's a democracy. Sometimes can be what is it that the head of Turkey said is a trolley stop on the destination, on the way to your destination.
Well, there's different gradations, obviously, but we are more democratic. We're actually more peaceful, like Steven Pinker's recent book, Our Better Angels. You had a very good chance of dying violently in the 15th century. Even the bloody 20th century was peaceful compared to earlier centuries.
So when you look at technology, and I want to talk about what's in your book on how to create a mind and what is self, what is consciousness. Mm-hmm. But while we're here for a second, let's just talk about. I have no problem with technology, and we are right now. We're at a place to where we can communicate unlike no man has ever had this opportunity to do. I can see things. Anderson Cooper, that picture, that would have taken weeks. If you ever would have seen it.
That's an example of democratization,
right? But if
because information is power, and knowledge of what's happening is power, and
two things on that. You're exactly right. Information is power. The government building this huge complex to grab all of that information. I think it was the head of Google at one point. No, it was Google. It was Facebook. I think it was the head of Facebook said in a speech once that people who are children today will have to change their name by the time they're 20 because there will be so much that they have done that's out there that they'll have to divorce themselves from. And you say information is power. What happens when a company gets so big, and if it ever merges with the government, or through strongmen, when the technology that's currently out there falls, if there is violence on the street, what stops somebody from taking over these giant data collection bases and then using them at the point of a gun? And then we are truly slaves because you control everything.
These technologies could empower Big Brother. They can also empower the individual. I think there's actually much more examples of the individual than Big Brother so far. But, technology is a double-edged sword. Fire kept us warm, cooked our food, but also burned down our villages. And these new technologies have pluses and minuses. There are even more existential risks. Biotechnology is going to save us from cancer and heart disease, but could also empower bioterrorists to be extremely destructive.
Right.
So I'm not saying there are no dangers to technology at all. In fact, I've written extensively about these dangers and what we can do about them. I'm encouraged by the fact that this power is so widely distributed. It's not just in a few government agencies. A kid in Africa with a smartphone has access to more democratic knowledge and search capability than the President of the United States did 15 years ago. A kid with a kid with a notebook computer started Facebook. A couple of kids in a late-night dorm room challenge with notebook computers started Google.
Right.
Tremendous power is in everybody's hands. We're seeing young teenagers doing these kinds of things today.
I just wonder, as we started the show today, when you can't see the difference between Israel and Hamas, Israel's not a perfect place. No place is perfect. But there's a difference between Hamas and Israel.
Well, I would agree with you there, and at least there are many channels to get these messages out, as opposed to the old days where there was maybe just three networks and no internet and maybe a few newspapers. There were very few channels to make a statement to show people what's going on in the world.
Okay, let me take a break. When we come back, I want you to explain what is lore and PRTM.
Okay.
Because this is the basis of what this is all about.
Yeah.
Right? Back in just a second.